and welcome to part 2 of our red velvet cake class. Now, we baked our cake in the first part and now it is time to ice this beauty. We have 3 layers of 20 centimeter rich and velvety red velvet cake that I took out of my freezer that's been there for about 2 days. Maybe an hour or so ago. You want to let it thaw, just maybe come to room temperature, and now it is stable enough for me to decorate it. Now, of course, we need some tools to make this happen. A lot of them are not essential. You can definitely get away without having all of the different stuff I have here. If you're just baking at home, just maybe making this cake for the family and friends on a weekend. But if you are going a little bit more advanced, the stacking of it and the filling and the crumb coating, and you want to actually sell this cake in the end, there's a little bit more advanced stuff you might need. Now, don't go crazy and go and buy everything at once. Trust me, I have millions of stuff and it took me quite a few years to get them. And it's just, you learn what you love over and over again. When I started baking, I only had what my mom had, which was a baker, but I never really took enough notice to know that that was something I wanted to do. So all of this stuff I have here, most of them are stuff that I bought when I needed them. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the tools. Let's get the cake out of the way for a few seconds. We're going to get to that beauty now. Right here, if I can find a little, yeah, there we go. This right here is where the magic happens. All right, you can get away with not even having this, but this baby I would absolutely recommend getting. Okay, this is a turntable. It goes round and round and round and is stable. And when I place my cake on this, I'll tell you a little bit more about this later. When I put my cake on this and start to frost and work and do my thing, this beauty is going to help, as opposed to having it right there now, having to try and move the cake, pressing your hands in the cake. Turntable, amazing. Now there are quite a few that you can get. Let me show you. This is a lazy boy. Okay, you can use it as a turntable. I bought this for like 60 Rand at a second-hand shop. Okay, this is my very first turntable ever. It's quite old and it's now very wobbly. I used it for almost 10 years, right? As long as it's stable, it is okay. Let's put that back. And then the last one I want to show you is the bigger plate one. But here's the catch. When you go out to buy your turntable, make sure that it has a thick board here, or glass or stainless steel cover where you put your cake on. The reason for that is when I do this, it's unstable. So I've never actually bought this. I thought this was the same as the one that I have here. But I love the fact that it had a bigger surface so I could do bigger cakes on it. As you can see, it's full of dust because right now it's standing on that table. I barely use it because I want something very stable like this. So if you do go and invest on it, and they are, I think they sold out on my website, but they will be back soon. And then get something that is a little bit more professional, if I can say that. All right, so now this little thing on top changed my life about a year ago. When you put a cake board on this, let me grab a cake board, yeah? And you start to frost this baby. You see what happens already? Now I'm going to press my spatula here, my cake scraper, and this one is just wobbling all over the place. Now first I got these. You can buy them anywhere, the gummy sheets, you put them in your cupboard. Also, it worked for a while, but it still wobbled. And then I came across the silicone mats. Perfect for my turntable. Absolutely perfect. And the best ever, it has measurements on side. So I have a second one here that I use when I roll out fondant and I need a specific size. I can just measure it on this. You get big sheets of this. You can buy a big sheet and make an even small one. I actually literally only have one of these left on my website. They're only coming in about a week or so. These are amazing because when I put my cake board on, do you see? Unless I really work hard, that you rarely do with cakes when you decorate, this baby is going to stay in place just where I want it to be. All right, cake board, not an essential tool. We're actually going to do this on one of my cake discs, the way I always do. Okay, we're just going to use this baby, put it on here, and frost our cake on it. This is a cake disc for 30 centimeter, 25 centimeter cake. So usually when I bake cakes for home, I don't go and waste money in getting a cake board that I have to throw away later. I use this and I just wash it. It works just the same perfectly. Okay, talking about cake discs, something you might want to invest in is my acrylic scrapers or cake discs. Now relax. This is a class. I'm not selling all of this stuff, but they are conveniently on my website for you. I have cake discs in all the various sizes and I can make them custom to whatever your cake tin is. Okay, and the scrapers, you'll see me use them. It's also something very easy to use these days. You get the stainless steel ones. I think I actually have one here that I can show you. They are also absolutely amazing, and they do save a step when you warm this up a little. We'll talk about that part later, but these ones are also nice. You can use this just as well to make your cake a little bit smooth, but I just fell in love with the acrylic ones and the bigger and the smaller ones. Right, that's something we need. Of course, a mixer for making my frosting helps a lot. If you have patience and time, using your hand mixer will work just as well. Just go and mix it in smaller quantities. Because the thing you want to do is you want to incorporate a lot of air into your frosting. Anyway, I do. There's a lot of different frostings out there. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's so many different kinds out there. You can choose whatever you want. For this one, I'm going to show you how I make my vanilla frosting, of course. And we're going to add my cream cheese in it because I have a little bit of trick to make it for you guys at home so it doesn't melt. When you make cream cheese, usually when you pipe it or you work with it, it gets soft easily because of the cream cheese, of course, and then it goes melting on you halfway through. That didn't sit with me well. I don't want to worry about the cake that goes from my house to another house if it's going to melt. I want something a little bit more stable, and even though I'm controlling my heat and the cold and the everything that's happening with the climate, I do want to use something I do not have to worry extra about. So that's something I'm going to teach you again also today while we make the frosting. Then spatulas, of course, they help because you're going to scrape down once you mix your frosting in here. The butter and the pieces go at the top, and if you keep mixing, those ones are just going to sit there. So you want to get a spatula. And again, I think I mentioned this in part 1. My sister doesn't have this, and I've been buying all the different ones just to take like a few because I have like 10 of these smaller ones. I think I went to Checkers and buy them. They are magnificent when you start to mix smaller amounts of icing. They work perfect. These ones I think I actually just got somewhere very, very cheap. I love them, and they have my little logo on it. This one doesn't. The other one has. It's got Make the World a Better Place on it. That's on my website. So it's something you can get at most places these days because it's quite an essential. Another thing we're going to work with is spatulas. Again, back to what I told you guys. Don't go and buy everything at once because you're going to end up with all of these like I did. So my favorite are these small ones. These haven't been branded yet. You can get these at most baking stores. They are quite inexpensive. What you want to do is when you look at this. Now this is the one my mom had. It's a straight one, but you see what it does? It bends on me. Now, I don't like that. Also, these ones are amazing when you make large, big layers of cakes. But again, you have to hold it there to keep it stable. This one, another one, thicker, stronger. I like these the most. When I keep this in my hand, it's stuck. It's easy for me to control the turn or the cake, the frosting. When I do the frosting, I wanna control my hand. It's quite hard to explain, and probably when I do it, I'll be able to get my words right. But I want to have control when I work with my cake. Also, you'll see me go from a large one to a small one, and there's quite a few different reasons, because once you start to do this, you'll see that those of you that's experienced bakers will actually tell you, they will go into the cupboard and say, this is my favorite, this is my favorite, because they fit in your hand perfectly. This is a craft and an art and a praise and a talent you have, that you have to use your hands. And when you have control over your hands and you have control in your hands, it's going to be beautiful in the end. Okay, so we need a little bit of spatulas. Don't freak out, we're not going to use all of them. I'm just showing you, giving you a little bit of ideas. Bowls, of course, we're going to mix it into this bowl, and I need colors. I need colors to cover my cake and make the beautiful roses with. Bowls and gel coloring. I've got my favorite gel coloring of all time, and I've been using it from basically the beginning, is my cake flora. Cake flora. Cake flora's gel coloring is absolutely amazing. Most baking stores keeps it. If you need it and you can't find it, let me know later. I will figure out a way to get you some. We are going to need nozzles. These change your life. If you want to go from putting a cake on the table like my mom used to, just covering with a fork, and it's perfect, that's great. But if you want to go the next level, having these babies, I have quite the collection back there, but it has taken me quite a while as well. I didn't go and buy everything at once. I bought them as I needed them, or maybe just got them because I wanted to try out the style. So right here, I'll have two different leaves. And later, when we decorate, I'll bring the camera closer so you can see what they do. The 1M is my absolute favorite. It's the first thing I put on my website, because this has been a life changer. It changes my cupcakes, it changes my cakes, and it's just such a dream to work with. You can make dots, you can make stars, you can make swirls. So much happens with this little one right here. And then just a multiple star one. I think these are called French nozzles. Do not know all the fancy dancy terms, but they have multiple little, I would call them shark teeth, but they have multiple little stuff there that makes your frosting a little bit more delicate, so to speak. And what else? I have a trusty ice cream scoop. Now, if you don't have this, you can get it later. It works amazing when you are baking cupcakes and you want to get the same amount of cupcake in each little cupcake tin. And again, when you are baker baking for someone at home to sell, or you're baking for people to sell, measuring helps a lot. I do not personally measure my stuff, but when I start to decorate, but you do have to just keep in mind how much frosting you put into layers. So most of my signature cake has my caramel inside. So I more or less know how many cents of caramel I need for a cake. So that's kind of easy peasy. When I do cakes like this that has a frosting like cream cheese or something in, I will scoop it out and put about 3 scoops or 2 scoops in, just to give me a nice little cream cheese layer. And it helps so much that you don't end up having not enough frosting. Since we are talking about the frosting, when you go through the recipe, somewhere you will see that I noted. If you want to fill the cake, cover the cake, maybe do another small layer around it, okay? That's perfect for one time making, one batch of frosting. But if you want to go fancy dancy like we are going, adding those extra decor roses around with a little leaves that's going to come on top, I would recommend making 1.5 batch of it. Remember, you can always keep it at room temperature for up to a week, your frosting. For the cream cheese one, yeah, I'd still leave it outside. I do not put my frosting in the fridge. They crystallize and I hate that. So yeah, you can make the frosting ahead of time as well. But I do recommend making 1.5 batch of frosting, so you always have enough, because it sucks. It sucks when you're halfway through getting into it and excited about this cake that you are going to be decorating today, excited to try all the techniques you have learned everywhere and seen everywhere, and then you're out of frosting. It's really bad. So make 1.5, make sure you have enough over. Later you can make a small batch of cupcakes and decorate some sugar cookies, put them into sugar cookies. So now that we have that, something I do also keep aside is a stainless steel flask. Something maybe I would recommend stainless steel, not plastic. We're going to put some boiling water in here, and I'll show you later why I need this. But yeah, as for the tools, that's pretty much what we need. Again, like I mentioned in part 1, once we go on and you guys see, okay, there's something I didn't mention and you want to point that out, by all means, come point it out. Only human, yeah. So I would think I probably forgot something, but hey, we'll figure it out, and you'll probably not be able to bake this exact time with me. You'll probably watch it first, so you'll see whatever you need as we go along. And then, yeah, if you can't remember anything, if you want to know more about it, please feel free to text me or send me a message. Do not mind answering you. I love talking about cake. It really lights up everything I do. So if you need any advice, let me know. So let's get all of this. Oh, something I didn't tell you is this. This is something I also recently found that is definitely going up on my website, because I have no idea how I managed to put my icing in a bag, struggle for so long, for the simple reason that I could have used this. This has been on the market for quite a while. So let me show you. Piping bag, another thing. Having a little Ziploc bag works well as too. But having this, I buy them, they are like 30, 40 bucks for 100. And I mean, if you're not a baker baking for clients, this lasts you a great deal of time. So having these in, and I do recommend buying the big ones. There are smaller ones. They look like this. Very, very smaller ones actually. They're quite smaller, but I recommend that when you are baking cookies and doing those royal icing little thingies, those incredible bakers do with that. But for frosting, I use only the big ones. Also, yet again, there are quite a few different ones. These ones, because I use quite a few colors, I hate washing a piping bag. I really hate washing a piping bag, but you can get those silicone ones that you can refill. Another brand that you want to think about, because I've noticed that there's a lot of these throwaway bags lately that people buy on certain websites that that isn't really a good quality. So while you're busy piping, it pops out. I would recommend looking into Cake Flora's one-way premium piping bags. You'll immediately see the difference. It comes in this beautiful little roll. It has 100 of them, and I do use them quite a bit when I don't want my frosting to melt as much, because they keep with the temperature, and they have a little grip almost outside, and inside they are smooth and silky, and they are big. But having too big of a piping bag, again, coming back to the control, you start to lose control. All right, so as you can see, there's quite a difference. Much better quality, not as good quality, but I like working with these ones. You see, they are different. But here's the thing, what I wanted to show you about this. Now I'm going to use these nozzles without them standing all over the freaking place, and none. I'm going to start searching for them. They go nicely into this. I drop my piping nozzle inside, do this, and now my frosting goes in there. Then I take it out, and I can grip it without my hands filling. Now in the past, what I used to do is just grab this, put it over my hand, open my hand up, and then I also had a way of putting the frosting in. But when I come to the second time of filling, everything will just be dirty. Those little beauties, do not know who invented them, but they are genius. It works perfectly. Like, imagine I have frosting in there, now I'm putting it in, just put my frosting in again, put my hands under, and we have a closed piping bag. Okay, we're going to come back to that later. First up, we need to clear this out. And when I come back, I'm going to show you how to make my very easy vanilla frosting. It's on my website for free. You can find it there anytime. And the little trick I have with my cream cheese frosting as well. So I'll see you in a bit, and then we talk again.